I was 16 years old, wasn't making money, I was skinny as shit. I knew that I was a loser at the time. I thought I was bound to this life of damn near slavery. And when I see somebody popping their shit online, it feels like they're showing something I can't have. I was like, nah, fuck it. So I reframed the belief.
Where are you at as far as revenue right now?
The last 6 months straight, we've done over $500,000.
Do you want to go to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million? Like, where do you see yourself
100%.
going?
Yeah, my 6-month goal I set was $3 million a month. How the world works, how God works is when you set these higher goals, you're tortured into becoming the man that's capable of holding that type of weight. I could fail along the journey, but I'm the type of guy that I can get knocked down, but I have an inconquerable soul that's unwilling to accept long-term defeat. If somebody's a social media influencer, has a consulting business, you need videos that their sole purpose is getting reactions. The clippers are cool, but it doesn't really convert. Like what's always converted the most for me.
All right, dude, Vincent, man, welcome to the pod, brother. So for the audience, what I'd like to do is just kind of dive into a little bit about where you're at right now, what your plans are, then we'll take it back to the origin story. We've got a good amount of time here, and so I just really want to give you a platform to be able to kind of dive in and let people know like where you came from, your inspirations, you know, all the things that led you up to this point, where you're trying to go next, and we'll get into a bunch of stuff too, man. I'd love to understand a little bit on the personal side as well, like your habits, things that you're doing to be more successful, and you know, you're really successful at such a young age, and so we'll cover it all, man. So glad to have you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, so the people watching this, if they've seen me on the internet, they probably know me as curly-headed alpha male guy. But it's funny, I actually run a consulting company called Six Figure Fitness.
Yep.
So legitimate business. Little backstory about me, I was your typical skinny broke loser when I started my entrepreneurship journey. We actually talked about this, but I was 16 years old. And I just realized I didn't want to go down the indoctrination route of going to college, getting a normal job. I just thought if I had to do that, that's not a life worth living, and I wanted to kill myself if that was the presented option. Sure. So first thing I did was I read a lot of self-development. Everything they tell you, the Think and Grow Rich, the science of getting rich. I'm reading 48 Laws of Power. I'm just curious and studying success. But after I read probably like 100 of these books, and to add in, I dropped out of high school too, but I thought I have all this information, but I have no results, and I'm a skinny loser. You know what I mean? So that's kind of when I fell into
the knowledge action gap.
Yeah, that's when I fell into self-development, and my brothers got me in the gym. And I tried all the business models, the reselling, the day trading, the drop shipping. And I had people asking me at that time, like I blew my trading account, and they're like, Vince, what's your workout routine? What's your diet? And I saw that as an opportunity to monetize. So I sold low ticket PDFs, invested in a mentor, high ticket coaching. And I made my first multiple six figures from fitness coaching. And then moved to Miami, and around that time, people were like, Vince, how do you make money? And I remember my friend suggested that I enter consulting. He was like, Vince, you should teach people how to do what you do. And I was like, why the fuck would I teach people how to do what I do? Like, I could just make money from this. Because it wasn't like it wasn't a set business model, the lane that I'm in. And then I had this friend named Luke that actually sold me on selling the routine.
Yep.
And he made $40,000 in 2 months. Yep. And he was like, he took me to dinner. He's like, bro, Vince, you have to sell this. And you're selling fitness at $2K. You could probably sell this at like $5K. Because think about it. He's like, bro, I made $40,000. And I was like, yeah, but would somebody pay like $5K or anything like that? And I just got on the phones and I started telling people, hey, listen, it's $5K. Fast forward now, we have thousands of testimonials in a fire community, bro.
Yes, sir. Dude, I'm so pumped, and there's a lot we can dive into there. So before we jump back, what I want to do is a little bit of just present moment. So the reason I reached out to you is because we had connected at Nathan Bentley's event a few months back, and you were ripping then. And what I thought was, to be fully transparent, man, when I saw you come on as a panelist, I was like, oh, this fucking guy. You know, this is the curly-headed guy from Instagram. Yeah. And then when you did your talk, I was like, this motherfucker knows his shit. Like, he's legit, and you care, and you're ethical, and you actually move a lot differently behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it was so interesting because the advice you gave to us when we were sitting there, and it was mostly agency owners, like on the marketing side, and I was just there because I knew Nathan. But you were like, hey man, you got to have this persona. You can do this rage bait thing, and you know, bad attention is better than no attention type thing, right? And so I was like, oh wow, this is super interesting. He's actually savvy with it behind the scenes. So we connected then, but you recently just said that you're gonna triple speed run to 1 million followers. So tell me a little bit about like where you're at right now, and what made you decide to to declare that and what you're thinking through at this current moment to grow your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'll have these phases. Like, I don't know what it was. This was a few days ago. I was just kind of like seeing other influencers that had 1 million followers. I knew I've been slacking on posting, and I was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to make it a mission now to get to 1 million followers. Now, I actually did something similar to this, like probably a year and a half ago, where I was at 60,000 followers, and I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to get to 100,000 followers. And it was 8 days after that. I don't know how to explain this. It was 8 days after that I hit 100,000. So what's the plan, right? I'm assuming, you know, what you may be asking too, if somebody's a social media influencer, has an agency, has a consulting business, the quickest way to grow is top of funnel content. So this is what people clip out of context of me and put in YouTube videos, but you need videos that their sole purpose is getting reactions.
Sure.
Right. So here I'm either posting like maybe a before and after, maybe I'm being very controversial, maybe I'm throwing rage bait analogies. And I know that's going to draw all the attention in. Once I have that attention, my next step after that is nurturing and belief breaking.
Sure.
Right. So I have to take the people that have all these limiting beliefs of like, oh, this isn't for me, I can't do this. I have to reframe those beliefs and give them the same mindset I have. And then there's the value and authority content where they go down your funnels, they're shooting you a DM. But the plan with growth is literally volume and reaction-based content. That's the biggest thing, yeah.
What's your cadence right now as far as posting?
So right now I'm posting 5 times a day. So I started this like 3 days ago. So it's already, you know, I've gotten like 3,000 followers since 3 days ago, which is a pretty good metric. But it's not, you know, people need to understand it's not just about volume, but if you can mix volume with quality, and then you ask what determines quality for social media, can it get reactions? That's the biggest thing. Can it get reactions? What I saw early on, like when I first started in fitness, a lot of people were like, oh, that transformation, you didn't do that in this time frame. And I got really pissed off when I had these haters online. But I realized that the haters were the core purpose behind why a brand grows. Like there's zero huge influencer you can find online where you can't go on YouTube and see this dude exposed, this dude scammer, this, that. Now, I was in Miami for the first time. I was at a Grant Cardone mastermind event.
Classic.
And I remember he pulled up YouTube and it was like Grant Cardone scammer, Grant Cardone exposed. He was like, look at this right here. He's like, this is all, they're all my employees. They all work for me. They all make videos about me. And I was like, oh shit. So this dude doesn't even care. He's like using it and fabricating it. And I thought, why not do the same exact thing with my marketing? It's funny because a lot of the pages that make videos, I'm actually cool with behind the scenes.
Yeah,
not
I saw you threw up a DM of one of the guys.
Yeah, not
You're
like
like,
cool,
thanks, bro. Thanks for blocking out the address. And he's like, yeah, I got you, dog. It's like, what?
Yeah, it makes you think, bro. It makes you think because the only people not getting paid are the people emotionally involved. The people in the comments, yo, this dude made a video, this dude exposed you, etc. But then you think, like, if you're a consumer, how do I go from a consumer to a creator and getting paid? Because I was like all these guys. I know them more than they know themselves. I was 16 years old, wasn't making money. I was skinny as shit. I was a D1 hater online. You know what I mean?
hater.
I'd see a big influence. I'd be like, yo, rented, that's not true, this, that. But really it was cope. You know, I knew that I was a loser at the time. I thought I was bound to this life of damn near slavery. And when I see somebody popping their shit online, it feels like they're showing something I can't have. I was like, nah, fuck it. So I reframed the belief. Yeah.
And so you're posting 5 times a day now. What were you doing before that? Like 1 to 3?
Yeah, I built my entire following posting like once every 3 days. So I was never a huge volume guy. It's actually something new I'm testing now. But like I said, I was a huge reaction guy. When I did drop a video, I had to make sure it was an absolute banger. Like you get a brain for social media too. Like I've been posting for 5 years.
Yep.
I can know now, like even on this podcast, if I were to give a rage bait ass analogy, I can know how to make a clip that gets views.
Yep. Yeah, I think one thing is with this whole like AI content wave that we're going to see, it's like you're going to have to keep the quality bar high, but I think we're still in a season where quantity wins. And for me, like I'm just now getting my cadence up. And so for me, I'm not necessarily wondering how to crack the algorithm every single time, but just getting those reps in and then eventually raising the quality and keeping the quantity high too. So you mentioned your business. I know you're pretty public about this. If you're open to sharing, like where are you at as far as revenue right now? Yeah.
So it's funny because this is something new I'll say on the podcast, but for the last 6 months straight, we've done over $500,000. So 500K, 600K. Now this last week, it's actually crazy. I had all my payment processors get shut down, like every single one of them. So it's some business issues that I'm working with. I went to Fanbasis and they're fixing it. But aside from the last week, it's been over $500,000 every single month. And the plan is obviously to scale once we get the processors back up.
Absolutely. So do you want to go to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million? Like, where do you see yourself going?
100%. Yeah, my 6-month goal I set was $3 million a month. So it's actually a mathematical game, right? Like a lot of people will see a number like that and they go, yo, how is that even possible? But it's the same thing as aiming for 10,000 a month. When my goal was 10,000 a month, I was selling a $200 product. And I was like, yo, how do I get, X amount of people? But when I crashed that barrier, I just raised my prices. So it's the same thing with making $3 million a month. The guys that I know that are making $3 million a month, $5 million a month, even $10 million a month in the scene, these guys have like 100K offers. These guys have 250K offers. And that's not really where I plan to start, but $3 million a month game plan for me is scaling ad spend. Sure. Like the publicity, the attention stuff is cool. The clippers are cool. And I do that for just more brand awareness. But it doesn't really convert. Like what's always converted the most for me, all right, I'm gonna say, last 6 months is paid ads, bro.
Really?
Like literally just the paid ads where somebody doesn't even know me and I'm like, hey, listen, if you're in your early 20s and you wanna, monetize your passion of fitness, we get like a 5-time return on ad spend from DMs. But here's the problem, there's a cap, right? Because I can only have like so many messages coming into the DMs at once. So what am I doing to break this barrier of 790K was our max in a month? I'm getting AI DM setters. I was speaking with Nathan about this the other night. We went to dinner. I'm doing that. And then I want to build out my dialing team and funnels and kind of scale the ads that way. But that's my genuine goal is $3 million a month.
Yeah, man. So somebody who might hear you say, oh, our payment processor got shut down, they might assume, oh, scammer, this, that, Vincent Fisher exposed, here we go, right? But like within your client success, what I'd love to dive into is like whenever someone enrolls into your program, if you're open to just walking us through like what is laid out for them so that they can succeed. And I have a ton of beliefs around education businesses, and it's more like an accountability business almost with the information at hand. But walk me through a little bit about like when someone enrolls into your program, like what happens? Yeah.
So if somebody were to enroll, depending on the tier they get, they're usually going to have an onboarding call with me. So directly with me. And this
with you.
Yeah, this is a funny thing. Like I hate to say this. People know me as the course selling final boss. I don't sell courses. So I have guys that come on, they have an onboarding call with me for an hour. After that, I send them to one of my assistant coaches. They build out their entire coaching app, program, routine, meal plans, all the technical shit. And then they get on with an accountability coach, my guy, Sai. So Sai is like more harsh than me. He's gonna be like, bro, why the fuck aren't you posting? He's like, yo, you got to tweak this, tweak that. Dog, did you get 2-3 up a day? Like he's blowing these people up. And then I come in strategy wise, right? If they are hitting all their posts, their numbers, I'm coming in and looking at the business from a consultant perspective and going, okay, you're posting this. I tweak this, I do that. Then some guys, after they hit, usually it's 10,000 a month, we build funnels. So we'll build them out like a VSL funnel, their CRM, all the back end stuff. But I'd say we have one of the best products. Sure. And like even like processor wise, WAP is a processor. They literally hit me up yesterday. They're like, Vince, how the fuck do you have no disputes? They're like, how do you have no disputes on your processor? Like, are you doing something shady? I'm like, bro, just an A1 product.
No disputes. Yeah. That's a huge claim, man. I think like for those who might not be super aware of what actually goes on inside of these info businesses, like if someone refunds you or puts a dispute on Stripe, what they are basically saying is they got scammed, they don't want any more, and they're just basically asking for their money back. And that's the quickest way for you to get your shit shut down. And a lot of people can't flex their chargebacks, right? Like the company that I manage, we haven't had a chargeback in 12 months, except for one where we like double charged somebody or something, and we didn't even reach out to him before he could fix it or whatever. And so no disputes. Wild. And so
that's on WAP. That's on WAP, yeah.
Okay, that's WAP. So you said the accountability coach, you got Sai. Most people don't actually do the onboarding call either. Like as a founder, you're not getting a lot of companies or programs where the founder's doing a one-on-one. And so how many students are you enrolling per month, would you say?
A month, bro, it's not that many. It's always under 100, sub 100, but it's higher.
But you're still taking those 1 hour calls. So that's at least, what would you say, 20 hours a week? I mean, that's got to be.
It's a lot. It's a lot obviously the more people we get, the more I'm on calls. But the thing is, usually these guys, like, I hate to say this, obviously they join, so I mentor them. Usually these guys are like, yo, Vince, I got it. Like, you don't even need, because I have so many people, right? Like the biggest thing I notice, because everybody that's new to info at first, you do deal with these problems. You go, okay, why do I have 1 out of 10 people that's unhappy? What do I need to fix? And I went through these trial and errors like for 3 years. So now my biggest thing that I've noticed is that people want results, number one, and they want a community. Like they want a community of people that care, that are on the same path as them. So I have 1,000+ gym bros. Like we talk shit in there. Like, we're like, yo, you knock his ass down. Like, these guys, literally, I don't even know if the camera's gonna see it, but if I were to pull up like my Discord, it's literally just jumping with wins nonstop. Like, I don't even know if the camera could see this. If I scroll up here, like, all these, there's a glare.
There we go.
All these people are literally just sending close after close after close. Like,
read a few off.
Nonstop. Yeah. So let me read a few of these. 1,500 a day. Just bought a brand new M4. Like, these are just in real time. Just bought a brand new M4. Thank you, Vincent. Monthly. Just moved into a penthouse in a year. Like, these are just, these are off the fly too. Like, not a lot of people can just scroll in their chat and show stuff like this. But I mean, the goal here isn't to flex, it's not to brag. Like, these guys are no different than most people watching this.
Well, that's the point though, right? Like, if you invest into a coaching program, obviously you want to achieve, like you said, you don't want to go 9 to 5. Coaching isn't for everybody. But if you're trying to make it in the online space, like, you want to be able to set those goals and achieve them, right? And the one thing you should flex is, for you, the wins channel, and for your clients, the results of their efforts, right? And so you mentioned Sai, so you've got an accountability, so you hand him off. Tell me about, like, exactly, like, what he does. Like, does he text them? Does he call them in the morning? Like, what is it?
Bro, this dude is like a fucking miracle, because I actually met him in other self-development programs. So I met him like 4 years ago, I'd say, in another self-development program. And he just cares. Like, when these guys send wins, like, they FaceTime. They're like, yo, Sai. Sai's screaming. He's like, let's fucking go. Like, Sai just, when our guys come down, Sai's hitting the gym with them. He's taking them to eat. Like, he just cares, bro. We got a community that cares. That's the biggest thing, and you can't really fake that. So, like, anybody that enters, the reason I feel like everybody's just so happy is because they know, like, yo, I have a community that cares whether or not I win. I mean, that's the one thing nobody's been able to, like, have dirt on for me. Like, and it's like, social media is such a crazy place. I saw this video of this, like, gambling video. Like, this dude was, like, promoting a gambling company, and he uses my name at the beginning. And it was, the start of the video was like, I'm exposing course sellers online. And there was this one black dude, and he was like, yeah, I paid Vince X amount. I never heard from him. And then they proceed to promote some gambling site. So I'm like, that's weird. I've never seen this guy, because I onboard everybody that comes into my community. So I reach out. I'm like, hey, bro, what's the point of this? Before I send a cease and desist, like, what's the motive here? Oh, Vince, it was just a joke. My bad. But I don't play. Like, you could make fun of my hair. You could say my cars are rented. You could say all that stuff. But when it comes to lying about my product, that's the stuff that I don't like. And that's the thing that people really don't have real dirt over me on, is that you can't fake a great product.
And they would by now if you were doing shitty results.
Bro, they would have, because no matter how much they talk, when you click my Instagram, you see 11, which I'm making the 12th client wins highlight today from those wins right there. Like, you can't, what are you going to say?
12 highlights, like back to back.
Like highlights, like with multiple
It's like 100 per.
It's just kind of like, what can you say? Like, that's the difficult part about it. But yeah, I mean, I just think there is definitely a trust recession now. We're like, with info especially. But yeah, I mean, that's the community, bro.
That's it. So they get the accountability, and then walk me through, like, your system. And maybe this is giving away the sauce, but, like, what are the pillars that they need to hit so that they can hit those 10K months as a fitness trainer?
Yeah. So are we speaking to the average consumer or the agency owner? I want to make sure.
Average consumer. Yeah.
Okay, like, average consumer, like, we have different steps, right? Like, everybody's given a homework sheet after their call with me. They're added to the Discord. They're added to the videos, all the techie shit. They're sent to set up their coaching app first. That's their first page of the homework. Send a screenshot of your completed program, send your payment links, to have buy now, pay later. After that, they're sent off to set up the I guess, techie side, right? Like, all the booking call softwares they'd need, all the application stuff they need to set up, their offer deck that they're going to show on calls, just the boring stuff. And then after that, they go into social media marketing. Now, each stage, I have a pipeline in my CRM, and I'll know every single stage that they're at. And I'll have Sai, this is why Sai's my accountability coach, go, yo, big dog, did we knock these things out yet? Because what we've seen is that the main reason people don't succeed isn't because they don't have the blueprint. It's their own, I guess, their own laziness, right? Like, I used to think everybody was like me. So I'd go, yeah, I'm going to mess with the people that mess with me. If they get it done, if they're working, I like those guys because that's how I am. And then I came to the harsh reality that not everybody's like us. Not everybody's entrepreneurs. Some people are just a little bit slower, and they just need somebody in their ear like, yo, do this, bro, do that, bro,
and I think
do that.
that's why I mentioned like it's an accountability business, because nobody has really been given a blueprint to follow. And then once they have the blueprint, it's still about getting them to fucking do the thing, right? So one thing that we implemented in the company that I was with before, the Premium Ghostwriting Academy. So we would help people build a writing business. The guy, Dickie Bush, my mentor, he lives here in Miami, and Nicholas Cole, his partner. We got to a point where our success rate was pretty high. Like everyone who completed the modules would land a $5,000 client in 8 weeks or whatever, and they would go on to be successful. And our NPS scores were super high. Like everybody loved the program, but like half of the people weren't completing the 8 modules. And so it's like, well, we can't really flex our success rate because half the people aren't even doing it. So we had to dive into all this accountability. And what we did was we built out the assignment, protocol where if someone's in the yellow and then in the red, and it'll automatically send them an email, call them, text them, fly to their house and fucking find them and get them to complete the module, right? So you have accountability measures set up so that they can move from each stage.
Yeah. It's funny though, because even Alex Hormozy, how he made like 9 figures in a weekend, he said on the presentation, well, I mean, the truth is half of the people aren't going to do this. Like he said that publicly.
Yeah.
And then it makes you think like, this is the angle I've noticed with the info space, is that everybody is trying to say they don't sell courses or info. Like Alex Hormozy is running new ad creatives where he's like, I've never sold a course or info at all. I'm like, that's weird. Dave Ramsey makes $10 million a month.
Yeah.
And nobody knows he sells info. But I feel like I'd rather just fight the battle. I'd rather say like, hey, listen, I sell info. Like it's what it is. Now, maybe that's wrong for marketing. I don't know. But I'm just going to be fully transparent. Now, what I can say is that everybody in my group I speak to, unless they really don't have like capital, let's say somebody we're getting in for like a low ticket price, then they're going to talk to Cy in the group and et cetera.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a marketing thing. So like people are kind of like, oh, I don't do this. But there's a lot of stigma behind online education because there are people that don't have that delivery and that fulfillment. And luckily I've had the right mentors that were in Inc. 5000 that have like dispute rates under 3%, 2% and are doing crazy ass volume, millions a month. And these people were able to guide and teach me. Now, did I pay these people tens, hundreds of thousands? Yes. But it's the best thing I ever did because that's always what saved me. Every business has ups and downs. You know, so.
Dude, one thing I think is so insane is the offer that I'm managing right now. We help product managers land jobs at Google and Meta and these big tech companies. And these people are making $500,000, $700,000, sometimes $1 million a year. So we help someone go from like $200K to $700K. And they move out to the Bay and do the whole thing. And they are coming from a little bit more like A-type, techie. They've never really invested into online coaching and programs, but they went to Harvard, which cost them $100,000, right? So like one thing that I'm having to constantly do is just break limiting beliefs about investing into yourself through the internet, right? And so in the education space, we're seriously in the wild, wild west as it's being disrupted. And universities, I mean, go and ask anybody what their tuition costs. It's fucking way, way more than any of these info programs. And arguably, if you're the teacher and you've actually done the thing, you're more qualified than a college professor to be able to teach them, right? So you mentioned you've invested a ton. What would you say, how much have you invested into your own coaching and courses and programs?
If I were to take just coaching, now I never, the thing is too, like, I never bought courses. Like I guess you could say that because I've joined some people's things and I never spoke to them. But it was mainly just like mentorships. That's what I invested in. So I've invested just mentorships. I'm not talking about business systems. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. Definitely over $350,000. And a big chunk and bulk of that is in the last like year, 2 years. So I'm not selling self-development. Like I live self-development behind the scenes. All the people in my group, especially people I've assigned as coaches, I make sure they're making multiple 5 figures a month. I make sure they live self-development too. Like I mentioned, I've been in self-development programs with these people. But yeah, there is that stigma. A lot of people say, well, online, it's a scam, it's this, it's that. And then pay $200,000 to learn how to make minimum wage.
From someone who's never done it.
From a minimum wage worker, yeah. And then there's another argument, right? A lot of people are like, well, if you knew how to do it, then you wouldn't teach it. That's like saying if you knew how to cut hair and you were a barber, you wouldn't open a barber shop. It's like, bro, let's just use common sense. If you want to expand the business, you need to teach other people when you grow. It's like saying, I made a story about this. I was like, that's like saying if you're a rapper and you're good at rapping, you won't start a record label. Of course, you want to scale the business.
That's a great analogy.
But here's the difference, right? Because a lot of big business owners are like, oh, well, I have a real business. I don't sell online. I don't teach people. I mean, you do. Because let's just say you have a dry cleaning business and your store is at max capacity. If you want to expand the business, you're going to teach somebody else how to do the exact same business model. You're going to franchise and build it. Even my business has a franchise aspect. Now, not like store to store, but I have other people. I'm going to tell you right now, like I run a mafia cartel type of operation. I'm getting these fitness people to multiple 5 figures a month for the purpose of them mastering the fitness industry to eventually work alongside me. Now, if they don't want to, that's fine. But when these guys do prove themselves, they make 30 to 50,000 a month. I tell them, bro, you earned your stripes. You have the proof. You have the results. How about we take my offer, the offer that changed your life? How about we split down the middle? And how about we both sell it? Right? Let's expand. And that's everything every business does in corporate America to some degree, however you want to word it. The difference is instead of actually paying a fee, they're paying in percentages. It's the same difference.
Yeah, I think it's so hilarious, man, how like, well, actually, it's I get it, right? Like if no one's ever kind of like opened your eyes, right? Like we can talk about awareness and we'll get into that too. But like some people are kind of just like, they've never been given that piece of content or that piece of information that helps them understand what the fuck is actually going on. And so I never assume malice. I always assume ignorance, right? And so the concept of paying down your ignorance tax, right? It's like if you're making 25 grand a month and you you went through all the mistakes, you did the wrong calling link, you did the wrong payment links, you did the wrong app to track your client's thing and they hate it. You've done all those mistakes and it cost you months and months and months. And you're doing 30 grand a month and you can just fast forward me to that. If I value my time at $10,000 a month and you save me 3 months, then I just made 30 grand and save myself all the headache, right? And so a lot of times when I invest into coaches, and I probably invested somewhere around like 80 to 90 grand into myself, as far as like coaches more specifically, it's always about paying down my ignorance tax, right? And so would you say that the 300K that you've invested into has netted you a huge return?
Oh yeah, it's responsible for absolutely everything I've done. And people will go, well, how'd you have 300K at 17? I didn't have 300K at 17. You know what I mean? Like at first it was 5K after I was selling low ticket, and then it was like 8K, and then it was like 10, then 50, and then so on and so forth. But I mean, even if I were to give examples of like, because when you've invested a lot in self-development and coaching, you're able to compare. You're able to go, okay, this dude's was level here, this dude's was here. Even if I take the absolute worst money I've spent on self-development, if I wanted to extract value, which I did, I've extracted value. Even if there wasn't railing, even if there wasn't like systems like we're talking about, like I'm like, motherfucker, I paid you X amount, I'm gonna get X amount of value.
Yep.
And some people have different superpowers, what I've noticed. Some people are better marketers. Some people are better at systems. Some people are better at like branding, getting your name out there. Like there's different, I call it infinity stones. So like I'm big on this too. I used to get offended when somebody joined my group, then they join another group. I'm like, why are you joining another group? But I mean, I did the same thing. And like, I feel like everybody should be learning from a multitude of different people that have proven results.
Yeah, man, I think it's, like you said, finding the value in the program, right? Like, so my first program that I ever bought was like $7K, and I didn't really get a lot out of it ultimately, but I rationalized in my mind, like I found 1 or 2 quotes even that I hang on to that I feel were worth that, right? Mm-hmm. And even just the fact that the guy that I invested into, I'm not gonna mention his name, he's kind of a shyster, but just realizing that he was doing this, so that gave me the kind of like a feeling of authority that I could probably do it too. Even that was worth the money, right? And so I think we're not really rational creatures, but we're rationalizing, meaning we will rationalize things. And so many people, they rationalize in the negative route, right? It's like, oh, 15K must be a scam. 15K must be a fucking guru, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you can rationalize in the other way and find the value and go and seek it out, the best people go to these masterminds, they go to these events, and they always come away with, oh, that one thing that guy said made it totally worth it. That one connection that we made, totally worth it, right? And so if you're always, it's like seek and you shall find, right? Like if you're seeking out the thing that's gonna make it worth it, you're gonna succeed. Are you willing to maybe share some of the mentors that, like any sort of give praise to anybody that specifically that really helped you along the way? I'm sure if we say some, we'll probably forget some others, but like who comes to mind?
Man, like the number one, I got to give my credit where it's due for where I was at.
Sure.
Was definitely Mike Barron. I got Mike Barron. So like he was the one that really dialed me in on systems. And when I said some people are good at some things but bad at others, like Mike, no hate to Mike, but like Mike isn't the go viral guy. He's like, man, Vince, if I had your attention, like with my systems, but he was the guy that really dialed in my systems. And every single time in the last like 12 months that I've had a business halt, like something bad that would happen, he'd always have a solution. He'd be like, oh, Vince, chapter 32.462. And he pulls up like 10 documents. He's like, SMS email blast, email soap opera sequence, SMS. And like this dude would like, he's like, Vince, funnel's already built in 24 hours. Boom. Put this into your go high level. I'm like, what the hell? And then he's like, okay, run this. Then you'll make like a couple $100,000. And like to think that I paid this guy $50,000, it's just like, holy shit. So like he's been number one. I just got to fucking give him his credit where it's due. Brandon Carter was the OG. He was the first person that even
Rockstar.
introduced me to what online coaching and high ticket sales was. And I remember I was selling low ticket at the time. And like I was doing fitness programs. So when I heard coaching, I was like, what the fuck does coaching mean? Do I have to like fucking coach? Am I gonna be like training people in gyms? Yeah, like that kind of scared me a little bit. But his system saved my life, selling high ticket, going from the PDFs to the phones. And if I were to give who else could I say is really good? I mean, like I guess Andy Elliott helped with marketing for sure.
Sure.
Marketing genius. Yeah, there's been a lot of people. If I were to
Sure.
name a few of them off top.
Yeah, I think some of the guys you mentioned, a lot of people might think, oh, those guys are the worst of the worst. You know,
Yeah.
they fucking, like Mike Barron, Andy Elliott. Like, I love Brandon Carter especially, but some guys would be like, oh, Andy Elliott, fuck that guy, whatever. I think it's important to recognize just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you can't learn something from them. And not everybody's going to resonate with the same cup of tea, right? Like, for you, those people might have helped you along, but there's there's several people that have that level of sophistication where they can take you from point A to point B. And it's important for the audience. Like if you don't resonate with a coach, then guess what? There's someone else that has that same fucking information. Like these people aren't gods, right? Like they're higher level, they're at a certain revenue threshold, they've done all the SMS, they've done all the things, and if they're successful, they probably documented it somewhere, pay down your ignorance tax, and you can go and pull from their mistakes and then just jump ahead a few levels. So one thing you mentioned too is just like with your self-development, you've kind of lived that, and then that is kind of breeding into everything that you're doing. So I'd love to understand a little bit about what is your routine like?
Yeah. It's funny because my routine is, I always say this, it's order of importance.
Okay.
So I never have a set routine unless I'm doing something like a podcast right now, but I'll have a list in my notes called shit to do.
Yeah.
And like, I'll always put the most important thing first. I'll write the less important things below that. Something new might pop up. I'll put it in correspondence with the list and I'll just knock it out. But I'm a very obsessive person. I'm not the guy that's like, oh, I never miss in the gym. I never do this. I never do that. Because even more recently, my business has needed more of my full attention. So I probably haven't hit the gym in 2 days. I put the business first. If my business is doing good, sometimes I'll put the gym before business, but it's order of importance, right? What do I need to get done right now that's going to give me the best result and the most leverage? I made a post about this yesterday, and I said, there's two reasons why somebody's not successful, right? Number one is they're taking delayed action. Number two is they're taking inefficient action. So a lot of people work hard, but they just work hard on the wrong shit, and it doesn't lead their business to any type of growth.
Yep.
So like I try to identify and audit my business every single night at 3 a.m. And I'm like, what can I directly work on now that's going to expand the business to the highest extent? Because some people might have, let's just say somebody has a problem with closing percentage or something like that. They're focused on closing percentage. And then let's say the real problem is lead flow, right? Behind the scenes, their closing percentage is 30% or higher on qualified shows, but they just don't have any leads. And they're focused on this problem when the real problem is how do we get more people in? So like I've been a victim to that too. I could probably be even further than I am now if I was thinking like this when I started. But I'm just very analytical. I'll use the robot, the ChatGPT. I give it my business. I'm like, tell me my weak points. What am I not seeing here or there? And sometimes I'll get like universal messaging, bro. Because like I said, my processors were down because I'm setting up this offshore structure, right? So I'm using these free zones and like trusts and et cetera. And then it kind of fuck me over a little bit. But now I'm like, okay, my best leverage isn't, just posting. Maybe it's a SMS and email blast like I've learned from past mentors. So that's like, that's how I think. That's my schedule. My schedule is just obsessive, growing the business, whatever comes first for growing the business, I'm doing that.
Cool. So you're working on your business at 3 a.m., you said?
Yeah, every single night.
Okay. So you're not the early riser necessarily?
Nah. I'm obsessive. I was on with Nathan the other night, and he was like, bro, we're up at 3 a.m. That's why we're successful. I was like, bro, I do this shit every single night till like 4 a.m. till my brain turns off.
Yep.
But I wake up 11 or 12. 11 or 12, and then I'll work till 4 a.m., and then I'll just repeat the loop.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to recognize too, just like I said with maybe not every mentor is going to be the same. Not every morning routine is going to be the same either, right? Like you don't have to do the whole cold plunge 5 a.m. thing. A lot of beliefs we just grab from people and adopt them before we really audit them and make sure it works for us. And so I've been trying to do this whole morning thing my whole life, but it's just like I fight it, and I was up at, like last night I was running through Brick at like 2 a.m., and so it doesn't have to be one size fits all with the routine. One thing I wanted to ask about was you mentioned your liquid numbers, right? Like you hit 5K before you hit 500K, you hit 10K, 20K. You're 21 now?
22.
22. Tell me kind of like the milestones that you hit and like which ones were the most impactful? Like when you hit your first 10K, et cetera, when was that? Walk me through the mindset.
Bro, my first 5K a month online was like, bro, I thought I was balling. Because
was that like the sweetest one, you think?
Bro, 100%. Because I didn't know internet money was even possible. You got to think like a lot of guys are in this beginning stage where they've never really made $1 online.
Sure.
Like I was in that stage, and during this stage, I'm trying reselling, drop shipping, day trading, blowing accounts. And like I ended up getting this $20 sale that was impactful. I was like, oh shit, like, it's $20.
You look down
and then
the
I'd get
notification,
I'd get a lot of them. Like I got a lot of them. I still have the screenshot on my phone to this day of like just a bunch of PayPal notifications of $20. But that ended up totaling to like 3 to 5K a month at that time. Bro, when I tell you I went from like splitting Jack in the Box burgers with my brother to like, oh yeah, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm getting TV dinners now. Like I'm fucking eating fast food at will, like an unhealthy eater. I didn't have enough to really eat healthy, but it was just like a freedom moment, bro. And then after that, because I mean, you beat the necessity stage of like, I have to pull this off. You're now not operating out of scarcity. And then another milestone for me, I'd say was 100K a month after that. 100K a month was when I told my mom she doesn't have to work anymore, which was still ballsy because I was kind of new to making money. But after that, 500,000 was kind of like, 790 was like, we need more. Like it's always a we need more mentality. Not because I'm ungrateful, but I'm never satisfied. Yeah. A lot of people get me misunderstood. They think it's like when we say these targets, they think it's about the money itself and we're staring at money at night or some shit. No, it's like as a man, your goal is to conquer and expand. Like that's what we were put here to do, no matter what field you're in, right? If you're let's just say an author, you want to expand by writing better literature. Right? If you're an entrepreneur, you want to expand by serving more clients and making more money. So that's the stages of importance. Right now, I mean, it hasn't been really important for me to hit these goals. I never even stare at my Scion and I'm like, bro, I pulled it up. No, I just don't. I don't know why, but I really don't care about the achievements themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like you hit the goal and then the goalpost changes, and that's not a bad thing, right? Like, I think it's important to be content and be able to take your cup of coffee in the morning and just go, I'm fucking grateful for this, right? Because I think Naval says something like, how can you be grateful for the yacht if you can't be grateful for the cup of coffee? It's like, as soon as you hit those targets, though, it's about the person you're becoming along the way, right? Like the Vincent that makes $3 million a month, his personal development is higher. His business acumen is higher, right? So it's about unlocking that. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah. And I made a story about this at 3 a.m. Another reason I like 3 a.m. is because I'm in like flow state, bro.
Yeah.
The entire world is asleep. I'm just staring at the city like Batman. But I made a story post and I said, you asked for a higher calling and all you've received in return is destruction and chaos, or what appears to be. But how the world works, how God works is when you set these higher goals, you're tortured into becoming the man that's capable of holding that type of weight.
Yeah.
So every time I've set one of these goals, absolute destruction. Bro, I've been hit with every fucking angle there is in the last month, bro. Every angle. Whole sales team left. Built the SOPs, rebuilt an entire sales team. Fulfillment team ended up leaving, besides Sai, that's my guy. Fulfillment team, build new SOPs, put the people in place. Public attacks over my reputation. Boom, that happens. Boom, what's the best tactical response? Now we had the payment processing. I'm like, payment processing. I'm meeting with Yash. I'm setting up new corporations.
Shout out to fan bases.
Yeah, shout out to fan bases. But bro, like when I have these challenges, knock on wood, I've never lost. And I'm not afraid to lose. Like, I feel like so many people are afraid to fail, but it's really not the end of the world. Like, I feel like I keep getting richer because I'm genuinely not afraid to go broke.
Sure.
Like, I see a lot of people that make these judgments and statements online of like, that dude went broke and he lost everything. I'm like, yeah, he's trying, he failed. It's what it is. Like, but I don't really look at the game of success like that. I'm well aware with the way that I play the game of entrepreneurship, I could fail along the journey. But I'm the type of guy that I can get knocked down, but I have an inconquerable soul that's unwilling to accept long-term defeat. So even if I'm down temporarily, I have too much of an ego to ever stay down.
That's a bar. Yeah, Layla Hormozi said something like resilience is the ability to get back to baseline as quick as possible. And one thing that I tell my guys all the time, like on my sales team or my clients in the coaching or, you know, in the past, is like disruption follows intention. As soon as you declare something that's an outlier or a bit of an exceptional outcome, best believe you got to be ready for the trials, man. It's like, you know, like you said, like, do you think if you're trying to make your son, like let's say you have a son and you're trying to make him patient, you think you're just going to have him study some sort of YouTube video? No, you're going to give him something to wait for. You know, it's like if you want to learn work ethic, well, guess what? They're going to give you a bunch of fucking shit to do, right? So it's kind of like you can't expect to get to the top of these types of mountains without doing the climb. And along the way, man, like a lot of the guys who make it at the top, it's just like we're just looking for solutions, right? It's just like solution oriented. I was talking to my founder about this, the founder that I work with, and we're kind of sketching out the $30 million ARR, and we pretty have it well understood, right? It's a lot of execution that's going to go from where we're at right now to get there. And some of my guys, we're running into problems. Somebody refunds, somebody asks for a refund request or whatever. And truth be told, it's really just because the closer didn't handle the fear, and they just got terrified once they made the investment.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't fucking bring this to the table and think it's a bad thing. Like, let's generate solutions. The whole entire premise of a business is just solving problems every fucking day. And so to think that you're going to get anywhere without a massive, massive list of problems is just silly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the higher levels, people don't get, you don't even have time to have emotional reactions, negative attitudes.
You're dead in the water.
Because all it is just lag. Like the time that you're spending complaining and not being solution-based is literally time wasted.
Yep.
When you want to build a big business, like an 8-figure-a-year business, like you said, you're going to have so many problems on top of problems. And if you don't have problem solvers in your business, it's wiped. Like I had to tell my chat the other day, they're like, bro, Vince, the payment processors, we've had 300,000 that would have gone through the first week, but our payment processors are down. I'm like, stop complaining. I'm like, listen, I get it. The payment processors are down. Now, what are our actionable steps? Boom, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, that. Like, that's how we think. And a lot of the time, down the ladders and down the lines of business, obviously, if you're the founder and the owner, there's managers, and then there's the closers, and there's the setters. It does get a little bit more loose, where like they have the ability to complain and throw out negative attitudes. But one of my favorite quotes from one of my past friends, Turo, he said, excuses, no matter how legitimate, or complaints, never produce any type of result. And when you have that mental model, it's kind of like, okay, why do I even have this?
Yeah.
You have to be I don't know if the word is psychopath or sociopath. You have to be one of those two things to run a high level business. You just do.
Yeah, it's like Hormozi says, like, if you complain to me, you're dead. It's like, maybe that's a little harsh, but man, we just don't have fucking time for it, right? Like, there's no time. It's like, if you bring me a problem, make sure to bring a solution. End of story, right? And I think like it's a beautiful thing, because if you're the type of person that's willing to bring solutions to problems, you're gonna do really, really well, because not a lot of people are. And it's like, I think Jordan Peterson talks about in one of his books, 12 Rules for Life, or somewhere, something like be the best at whatever you're doing, like no matter what you're doing. It's like if you're a dishwasher, be the best fucking dishwasher. And here's the chapter. It's notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated. And it's like, as soon as there's a little department of the business, or there's a little area where someone's not owning the thing, if you go and just raise your hand and say, I'm going to own this, or hey, the processor's down, but I got the routing number on the account and we can just have them wire it to us. It's like, ding, 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 you're onto something. And those people are going to win.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, bro. And I mean, even to add to that point, what people don't understand is as your business grows, the problems grow and expand too, like we talked about. So like if you're a new coaching business owner, I see a lot of guys, they're new in my group. They're like, Vince, bro, I had a dispute. Somebody wanted a refund, etc. I'm like, what are you doing complaining? I'm like, submit the documents, get more closes, bro. What can you do besides make more money? And I've told this to all my younger guys too. I have a guy named Flynn who's 17 now or turning 18.
Yeah, I've seen him here and there on IG.
When he came to me, he was 16 though. And he's like, bro, it's 2,000. This dude just disputed. I was like, why are you bitching, bro? I was like, make more money. I was like, come on. Yeah. But like, I saw a switch in his eyes. He was in my car. He was like, you're right, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, okay, cool. But what people don't get is that if you have that problem now, imagine when your business is at 7-8 figures a year, you're going to do the multiplication on your revenue and do the multiplication on the problems.
And the thing about that specifically is that these types of problems that you're referring to, when you scale linearly, the problems feel exponential. But like you said, it's just a prorated amount. So it's like if you're doing 100K a month and you have one problem, whatever it is, and you're doing $1 million a month, well, the math dictates that you're going to have 10 of those. The 10 is going to feel worse, but it's just the ratio, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like to think that you're going to go through and scale without this, it's like, why do you think the statistic is that 90% of businesses or 99 or whatever it is, % of business owners fail? Is because they can't be resilient enough to jump from stage to stage. The problems just kill them. Like you said, it's just a lag. Mm-hmm. You know, and so for anybody building a business, it's like, just prepare, just get a big spoon and just prepare to eat shit for like a long fucking time. If you think like a lot of times, like what's really interesting for me, and I'm on the closing side more so and managing offers and things, high ticket sales is now becoming the new biz op. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's so funny, dude, because people are like, make 10K a month and take your laptop lifestyle. I'm like, do you realize that the guys that are making 30, 40, 50 grand a month as a sales rep are taking 14 fucking calls a day? Like, don't sell me this bullshit. Like you're going to be on a beach somewhere. Like, yeah, you can be at the beach, but you're going to be back to back on calls, right? So it's like, what do you think about the current state of the info business? And obviously, like we're in here in Miami, we're kind of in the bubble of the echo chamber. Like, what are you seeing that you're trying to avoid that other people are doing?
Honestly, bro, just being fake. Like, I'm just not even going to lie here. Like, I'm very open. Like, I sell info. You could call me a guru, but I have a great product though. Like, I'm going to tell you all the negatives and all the bads, but I see these marketing angles that people take of like, you know, fuck courses, this, that, I don't do that. And then on the back end, they sell a course. It's kind of like, bro, just be authentic. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people are people that attack my name. This is why I love that I got into the paid ad space, because I feel like organic has become a buy my course instead platform. You know what I mean? Like, people go, oh, this dude he has a bad product, buy mine instead, this dude, that. I just like getting new people. So I like having fresh ad spend. We spend anywhere from 60 to 100,000 a month on ads now. And I get new people that are just ready to work. And it's outside of the noise and bullshit. So that's what I've been staying away from, is inauthenticity.
Yeah.
And I just know if I'm completely transparent, if I have a great product, I also believe in higher spiritual powers in God, right? So like, I know if I'm just being me and I'm doing good, which I feel in my heart, that God will not let me fail no matter what problems arise in my business. I don't operate with fear. Even like the processor thing, like I'm not scared of that. You know, it's just, I know I'm protected because I've done enough good. When we talk about, you know, problems multiplying, the good multiplies too. Every single hour, I get a text of somebody that made more money in a month. And I'm sorry, that made more money in a day than they make in a month by selling high ticket. People that are just completely new to it. So yeah, that's my focus now. But here's a shift that I'm making though. A lot of people don't know this. I've been working for the past 10 months or so on building a software, like a back-end software, kind of like a Trainerize, but like with complete AI. Sure. Like as soon as the client takes their photos, you could have build AI program or build the manual program, build AI meal plan or give them a manual meal plan, auto coach mode, right? An AI of you that actually talks to the clients. Like I'm adding in all these features, Cal AI on the client side. That's my real moonshot. Like that's my bet. My bet's not info. Info is like, yeah, I want to get to 5-10 million a month. But I know that the real money is in equity, and software is kind of like my bet now. So those are changes I'm making.
Sure thing. I think it's important to recognize, man, like the inauthenticity thing. Like some people might see you and they go, oh, inauthenticity from Vincent. Like, what about your Instagram, bro? And I think we could probably educate them on your tactics, like you said, the top of funnel rage bait stuff, et cetera. And it's a fucking game, you know? And the people that are aware are like, oh, he's really doing well at that. But with the whole break into high ticket sales thing that I've noticed, because that's kind of like the corner that I'm at, all these people are hating on each other and all these people are fucking ragging on. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. There's enough money to go around. Like, I promise you. And for me, the reason I actually started sitting down on these podcasts is, and the last like 10 episodes I've done were just mainly like high ticket guys. on the sales side. It's because like I just want to be the rising tide that kind of raises all the ships and reminds people like, dude, just if you live in abundance, like I swear to God, there's enough for everybody. Like I have a friend who has a really successful program in that space, and I referred like 5 of my guys over to his thing and made him 15 grand. I'm like, yo, by the way, send me the link. I'm gonna have somebody pay for your program. Bang, bang, bang. And it's like, now we're cool. Now we're affiliated and we can go on and make money together. And I texted him the other day. I'm like, dude, we'll find a way to make money together, whether it's now or later, you know? And so I think it's important just to recognize like this whole negativity, rage, not rage bait, but the ragging other people down. It's stupid. And if you have any comments, feel free. But I also want to jump on something you said with your spiritual, your relationship with your higher power. So if you're open to talking about that, we can dive into that.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Even to add on what you said, though, I even did a podcast with Brandon Carter, and before the podcast, I was like, bro, I'm not, like, I will literally gas you up on the podcast,
right,
bro. Like, I'm like, I don't even care about sales. I'll post this on my YouTube, too. Like, bro, you've helped me out. You know, obviously, I want to give back and help you out. It was kind of like a full circle moment. But, yeah, that's a pattern I've seen, and it's very hard to not get drawn into the negativity, right? If it's all you see on every single reel, is one dude calling out another dude and one dude saying this dude's this and that. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong. But if you were to look back on my page, I think the only time I've made a video that involves somebody else is if they've made a video on me and they have a huge following. I just don't ragdoll people. There's no benefit for it to me. Because, yeah, when you operate in abundance, you don't even think like that. But, yeah, I want to talk about, like, higher power and kind of living in that abundance, bro. One thing that you helped me with, and it's funny because it started with me almost kind of like helping Nathan because he was like, yo, Vince, I want you to speak. I was like, yeah, I'm not really getting paid to do this, but like I want to build good karma. That's why I do things like this. I was like, okay, let me go speak here and kind of see if I have any new game that I could give these guys. But I remember after that mastermind, bro, you came up and you mentioned how I mentioned Bob Proctor, and you had a friend or a mentor that was actually mentored by Bob Proctor, and they read one book called The Power of Awareness. Bro, when I tell you, like, around that time, bro, I was doing like 200K a month, 100K, 200K. Bro, I started like smacking over $500,000 after I read that book. Like, not even with new information. Like, no new information was added to my arsenal. But like, I really started to dive deeper into self-image and how I saw myself, right? Like, I actually have debates with people about this all the time. But I was raised to believe that religion, like I was raised as, I keep messing this up, but I was baptized when I was younger.
Sure.
Catholic or Christian, you can tell the extent of my knowledge. I might get clowned for this. I don't know which one.
Sure.
But anyways, I remember thinking of it like a chore. Like, I had to wake up. I had to go to church. I had to hear about all of these prophets that I couldn't compare myself to or look at in likeness. And it kind of left me with a hopeless feeling. I was like, I have to sit down and look at all these people that I can't be like and I can't compare myself to. I was like, I just want to sleep. Right? But over time, I've realized that books like Power of Awareness kind of tie in the religious aspect and the aspect that you can live up to something, you know, whether as great or maybe even a fraction of as great. But Power of Awareness dives into the self-image and the I am, right? And it gives God as an analogy of the I am. It gives Jesus as an analogy of imagination, right? So you realize that everybody dictates their life through their perspective of their I am. Right? The millionaire goes, I am a millionaire. He holds in his imagination that he's a millionaire, and his results in life are reflected. Like, what I've learned from the book you gave me is that logic is a lagging indicator of assumption.
Yep.
So I really sat down and I deep dived and I meditated on just being the guy that is $1 million a month, right? And that ended up getting me to $500,000 a month or so. But I really started to sit down and go, this is who I am. This is me. I only persisted in the imagination of being that person now. I only rested in the faith that everything's aligning to work towards that goal. And it was all that I saw. Like, then the logic showed up. Then the how showed up. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to be it before it comes into reality, right? And I think you talked about this recently. The one thing, man, is, and I'm glad that you took action on it, right? And I think a lot of times certain books, depending on when they hit you, are going to differ in how much of a magnitude it has, right? Like, if you're just completely new to the game and you read Power of Awareness, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about, right? Like, I am consciousness, like, and it's like, I can't even hold these beliefs and these ideas. But now that you had some success on your own, that was like the gasoline to kind of light things on fire. That book changed everything for me too, man. And I remember reading it and I was like, it's probably like a 2-hour read if you really sifted through it. But my mentor took me through one chapter a week. He's like, you can't read more than one chapter a week. It's too dense. And so we read it, and he's like breaking it down all the way. And so I haven't given that book away as much as I should. I should probably just like buy 10 copies and giving it away. Like I do that a lot too. One thing you mentioned when coming to Nathan's event, like kind of depositing goodwill, that's a framework that I really try to do. I try to make deposits everywhere I go. And so that's what I did when I gave that to you. But everywhere I go, I try to leave deposits and just leave a net positive on the relationship. And maybe I don't have to do that forever. I think I'm still going to, but eventually it'll come back to me. And it's kind of like expect nothing, appreciate everything. And whenever you can go, and that's why I always try to sneak and grab the dinner bill. Like I always try to sneak away when we're at a restaurant and just grab the check. Not because I want to get patted on the back or get some sort of ego thing, but it's like I just want to pay it forward because they're going to remember me as the guy who didn't have to, but he did. Mm-hmm. And so not to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but bringing it back, right? Like, would you say that you're a believer in God, and how do you kind of live that or practice that throughout your day to day?
Yeah. I mean, I can't personally see God as some man, right? But I see God. It's not even through any of the senses. Like it's almost like after a certain point. I think there's Bible verses on this that the scripture is written on a man's heart, and you know what's right versus what's wrong. So what I've noticed in my personal journey of life and success is that God has only communicated to me through coincidences.
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm so glad you said that.
It'll be a random event. Maybe you're super stressed. You can't see how you're going to get to the other side in business. And you get this like small universal messaging. It could be a repeated number. It could be like it could be a fucking fortune cookie, right? But you're like, I needed this right now. Yeah, I needed this right now. And that's what's guided me through life. I've always been really spiritually connected because my mom told me when I could barely talk, years before my dad had gotten sick or passed away, she told me, I said as a kid, if my dad ever dies, then I know he'll be with God and Jesus, and I love them. Now, when I was 8 years old and my dad actually passed, maybe I wasn't as conscious then, but I was like, if there is a God, I hate him, right? Because it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. But across my journey of losing a father, doing the wrong shit, obviously fucking around, I was guided back to the light, bro. Like, I don't know how to put this, and now, no matter what type of tragic event could happen in my life, you could take absolutely everything away from me. You could take the cars, you could take my girl, you could take the place that I live, you could take the status and respect I get in real life, and I'm still gonna have a love for God, which was something I didn't have early on due to a lack of wisdom. I'd let circumstance destroy my faith, right? And it could even be some small shit like a heartbreak. A girl would break my heart. I'd turn evil.
Yeah,
right?
villain arc.
Yeah, I'd have this villain arc. I can't have a villain arc now. And there's just so much security in my relationship with what you could label as God. And the entire world could hate me, but I know me. You know what I mean? I know that I do good, and I know what it feels like to do the wrong thing. And that's really why I rest assured in the self-image of everything's going to work out in the long run.
Dude, it's so funny you mentioned the coincidence part, because my yearbook quote when I graduated high school was, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." And you know that you're on the right track when you're starting to hit these synchronicities and you start getting deja vu. You're like, oh shit. You start these breadcrumbs, right? So I think religion is man-made, right? Mm-hmm. God is not. And so if you have a relationship with God, you don't need religion. You don't have to go to a Catholic church, whatever. And I think unfortunately, like a lot of Christians, they kind of destroy the relationship because they give these assignments and they do all these things that kind of taint it, right? And so I would encourage anybody who might not have a relationship with God, go straight to the source, And like you said, I kind of had a similar journey where I went through a bunch of trials and tribulations, kind of victim mindset, humble beginnings, but just didn't use that as fuel just yet. And then as the time went on, it just became so apparent that throughout certain different events, like, oh, there has to be a God. Like, there's no way that I'm here right now, sitting here, unless there was one, right? So I know we haven't jumped all the way back yet. You mentioned your father passed, 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. So, like, where were you born? Tell me about that early childhood. Let's zoom into there.
Yeah. So I'll actually, before I even start telling the story, I want to repeat the quote so most people hear it. Is like, you haven't found true wisdom until you could go through serious trauma and not let that affect your relationship with God. That's the biggest lesson I want to start with. But growing up, I'll start with my dad's story. my dad, obviously, he was born in Texas, like town in the middle of nowhere. It's called Nacogdoches. Nobody's ever heard of it. My grandpa used to catch chickens barefoot for pennies, right? And he ended up having a plot of land, built a house there. He still lives there to this day. But he had, I think, 2 or 3 sons, right? My dad was the oldest of all of them. I have some uncles that are in and out of jail. But my dad ended up being the person that took the school route. So my dad ended up working his entire life, becoming an engineer, and he stashed all the money he had and ended up moving to Arizona and building this house, right? Around the time I was born, he's like, Vincent, you're my son. This house is for you. This is the kingdom, the castle, etc. And I was very happy at this time, just like a little baby, right? Messing around. Oh, nice, awesome. He's like, Vince, we got a new transformer. It's a new transformer. You got a new car. I was like, is it a pickup truck? It was like a Chevy Tahoe. And I was like, it's not a pickup truck, though. He's like, Vincent, don't worry. One day this is going to be a Rolls Royce. And I watched that all collapse, though. Like in the blink of an eye, my dad starts getting extremely sick. I have to stay with my mom more often. The house ends up getting like foreclosed or sold, one of the two. And the last moments with my dad were me and him in an apartment, way smaller. Obviously, you know, I don't know if I want to say sad, more sad. But imagine going from this huge, like 4,000 square foot, and you're a short kid, like a kingdom almost, it looks like. And then imagine going to like a small apartment. And then imagine eating like beef stew every single night and a Dr. Pepper and just watching, like, I'm still watching.
Walmart plates, you know?
Yeah, like exactly. And TV dinners, that was where I learned about TV dinners. And my dad would always smoke cigarettes and he'd always be on the porch. Just very, very wise though. My dad was very wise. But I remember during his last moments, he stopped caring. Right? Like before he was always like, you need to get good grades. You need to do this. You need to do that. Vince, make sure you take your medicine, do that. And then like, I knew he was going to pass because he was like, Vince, how are your grades doing, man? I was like, oh, I don't know if they're doing good. He's like, oh man. He's like, where's that iPod I got you? My dad was like, it's a strict, like belt type of dad. Never hit me or anything, but like threatened it. He's like, where's that iPod I got you, man? I was like, my friend took it out of my backpack. He stole it. It's gone. He's like, man. And I knew something was, I was like, why is he acting like this? Why is it different? But I couldn't conceptualize loss because I had never lost a parent before. And then I remember one day waking up and there was just ambulance in the place. And I remember seeing him like wiping my eyes and seeing a stretcher walking out the front door and a bunch of firemen. And then one of the firemen, I'm on the edge of this bed, and he literally gets on a knee and sits down and he's like, hey, listen, you know, your father's not doing very well. But your mom's gonna come pick you up in a few. And I had to sit down and like watch all these like ambulance and just sit there alone and go, what the hell is going on? And I just remember sitting there alone. I remember feeling alone. And my mom picked me up and she's like, Vincent, yeah, you're, you know, trying to hold in the tears, the crying, etc. That's not when he passed, but that was when everything kind of changed. And it was back and forth of visiting my dad for, I'd say, another 3 to 6 months. And I remember I started to build a habit of this. I was like, oh, well, he's in the hospital. I can't conceptualize loss. But my mom would start asking me, you want to see your dad? I was like, we already saw him like a week ago. You know, we'll see him again. Because I didn't know what loss was. Yeah. Then I remember my mom and my aunt. You know, and before this, my grandpa would come to visit and we'd see my dad together. I didn't know that meant he was coming to visit because it was his last moments. But he just kept being more and more immobile, having strokes, brain aneurysms. I think he had like kidney disease, heart disease, absolutely everything in the books was like wiping him out. I don't even know how he made it like 3 to 6 months. Fighter. But the last moments, it was my mom on the couch, it was my aunt on the other couch, kind of like smiling in a very sympathetic, sad way. And they went, Vincent, your dad passed away. Like they tell me this. And like the emotion doesn't even resonate, right? Like the first step's acceptance. I wasn't even at acceptance. I was like, what do you mean he passed away? Oh, passed away? Then I remember going to my room and like for 30 minutes, just like, what does that mean? Like, I was like, I don't even know what that means. But when it clicked that it meant that I'd never see him again, that's when the emotion came in. The tears started rolling, just sadness, anger, rage. Because during my dad's last moments too, my only prayer, what I thought was prayer, I'd get on my knees every single night and I'd beg. I'd be like, please let my dad make it to Christmas. Because Christmas is what we'd celebrate. And he didn't end up making it to Christmas. And like, you can imagine how I felt as a kid, just enraged, right? I was like, if there is a God, I hate him, whoever he is, I hate who he is, etc. Like just anger. And I probably carried that with me until I was like 14, 15, just doing the wrong shit. Growing up, watching my brothers like try to sell drugs. I'm stealing and shit. Like I'm going into people's backpacks because you got to think I went from a nice place. Now I'm at the bus stop. Complete switch. Bus stop, homeless people, $1 for the bus. I'm sitting there with my hoodie on. It's like raining. It's dark. It's gloomy. I was living a reality of damn near hell.
Yeah.
Like a vibration of damn near hell. Just guilt, knowing I was doing the wrong shit, anger. I just felt like left alone. I don't know how to explain that. And over time, these coincidences would just keep happening, bro. I don't know how to explain that. It's like I'd meet a certain person. Like I remember at my dad's, a year after his funeral, I remember a older black dude came to me and it was like, listen, hey man, you know, one day the pain's gonna leave and it'll all be good memories. And I needed that at the time. Like it was just one of those things that I knew was sent from God. I needed those words. And then just stack those types of coincidences over time before eventually it's kind of like, nah, something's speaking to me that's bigger than just logic. And it's routing me back to, I guess, the light. So that's why I started off with a quote that you haven't reached real wisdom yet until you can go through trauma and not let that affect your relationship with God. If I were to give the analogy, like Jesus literally got tortured on a cross, do you think he went, I hate God now because these people on earth are torturing me? So that's what I walk through life with. If I have, you know, public attacks and threats on my name, oh, this Vincent Fisher dude scammer, this is that, it doesn't affect my relationship with God. I know my relationship with God, and that's what gives me security. And you could draw that to any analogy of any prophet in the Bible. They always kept their faith, and that's what led them to prosperity.
Man, what a ride. I appreciate you sharing that. And I know that, like, for the audience, there's probably someone out there that went through something similar. And whenever you were 15 and you were starting to, like, click back, you feel like that was kind of when you started routing back. What are some of those moments where, I guess you'd be in like 10th grade, but you dropped out? When did you drop out?
Yeah, so I dropped out 16 or 17.
Okay.
16 or 17. It was junior year, I think.
So what were you doing in order to kind of get back on this up and up with personal development and like optimism and those things started coming back, right? Because you mentioned 15. So like walk me through how you started picking up the pace.
Yeah. I mean, started out doing the wrong shit. Like I made my first money like doing petty shit, like stealing out of backpacks and et cetera. And I remember how much guilt that money left me with. Like no amount of money is worth the amount of guilt I felt at that time. And I remember like I used to steal shit, right? So like I would take like somebody's designer belt or something. And there was so much guilt that I'd like fucking have it under my bed. I'd like put it in the fucking trash suit so the trash guy would take it on Monday. And I ended up getting caught for all this stuff. I'm taking to school and like there's a police officer at the front. He's like, Vincent Fisher, come to the front. Hey, we know you took this item, etc. And I was like, I don't know. I took that item, except it was like a nightmare. Like in my head, I already saw this coming. But I ended up getting like suspended and going back to school. I wish I would have gotten expelled, but like when I came back to school, you can imagine being the only half black kid. There's probably 2 other black kids in the whole school.
This is in Arizona?
Yeah, of 2,500 students. And race isn't a part of it. But of course, now I'm the black kid that steals. Like I just fall into that category.
Stereotype, yeah.
So yeah, I mean like, and that has nothing to do with race. That has to do with my own mistakes. But yeah, bro, it's just like we'd be in fucking baseball. The kids would be like, Vince, you can't steal the bases. Like, you know, after school, like fucking it was fights, bullshit. I'd come home with black eyes sometimes. It was just fucking paranoia. Like fucking, yo, who's after me? Who's out to get me? Everybody hates me. The girls that I used to like were like, don't you just love Gucci belts? Like they'd be saying stuff like that. And like, that was my first real exposure to hate. And I mean, it's crazy to say because that's only 2,500 students and getting jumped and bullshit. But like when I see internet comments now, I'm like, I know what it's like to have my entire reality hate me. It was kind of like a test for the point I'm living at now. But I ended up switching schools. When I started coming home with black eyes and shit, that's where my mom was like, you're not staying at that school.
Hell no.
Yeah. And then I went to this other school and it fucking followed me there too. They're like, oh, I have a cousin who knows this person. Didn't you? I was like, fuck. But eventually that disappeared and I went from a white school to like an all black and Hispanic school. The white kids were telling me like, yo, Vince, you're going to get jumped out there. It's fucking ghetto as hell. I was scared as shit. I was like, yo, what school am I going to? But it's funny because I actually met some good friends there. Like I felt more accepted there. And yeah, I made friends with people that were like just completely different background, different culture, but just good hearts. Like not what the other school told me they'd be.
Sure.
And then I rebuilt my image through, I'd say like when everything changed was just self-improvement. So I dropped out of high school and then I was kind of isolated. And then like me finding the self-development books, me getting into the gym, me just self-improving physically and mentally was what made me, I guess, respect myself.
Before we jump further, you decided to drop out.
Yeah.
But you went to the all-black school and kind of felt more accepted. So what was like, was there like a draw your line in the sand moment, or was it gradual build up and you're just like, fuck this?
You know what it was, bro? I don't know if this was before or after. No, it was before. I used to play Fortnite, bro. And this is one of those God coincidences, bro, I'm telling you about. Bro, I used to play Fortnite. You know how you just enter lobbies with a random ass team? Bro, I entered with this team with this dude that just happened to be like a millionaire day trader, bro. Like black dude that just smoked weed and like day traded. And I'd see him flip these accounts. This is before courses, bro.
You got him on IG or something?
Yeah, I got him on IG. His name is like Championship Ballin' or something.
Championship baller status.
My guy Ty, right? Now this dude, like, this is before courses, bro. So like this dude's just smoking weed. I'm like, hey, bro, how do you pay your bills, bro? He's like, oh, Vince, I do day trading. And I'd watch this dude literally for fun, like flip $100 accounts to like 10,000, 100,000. But he has this other account he wouldn't show people. I might be exposing him. But he had like bigger accounts, bro, like just millions of dollars in them and was day trading. And I was like, bro, how the fuck are you doing that? And he's like, yo, Vince, you got to read Think and Grow Rich. I'm like, I already read that one, bro. What other books? Like I'm good at Fortnite. So I'm playing these games. I'm winning him the games. That's my value to him.
Yeah. Those are your deposits. I'll take you to the win.
His value to me was like, I'd be asking this motherfucker questions like, yo, what book? Yo, Outwitting the Devil? Yo, Ty, I read it, bro. He's like, oh, I got another. Yo, read Art of Seduction, bro. That's what helps me with the hoes. I was like, yo, Ty, I read it, bro. Yo, what else do I need to read? I was just like soaking like a sponge, bro.
It's so funny you mentioned those two books, because just last night on my run, I had a friend call me and she was seeking some guidance. And I told her, she asked me, he's like, do you think manifestation is real? I was like, look, just go read Think and Grow Rich. Auto-suggestion, all this stuff. That book can tell you more than I can. By the way, Outwitting the Devil, read that one too. More for men, I would say, but you should benefit from it too. It's so funny you mentioned that. That's a coincidence right there.
Yeah. And then I remember he ended up like having some type of event or something. He's like, yo, Vince, I'm having this event in LA. I was in Arizona, so 3 hours out. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to LA. I was telling my other friend, kind of like my brother, and she's like, you're going to LA to meet some dude you don't know that smokes weed and plays Fortnite.
Some black guy.
I was like, yeah. I was like, Mom, you don't get it. Like, yo, he drives a Rolls Royce. This is where we talk about coincidences.
Yeah.
My dad told me we were going to get a Rolls Royce one day. So when I saw this guy had a Rolls Royce, he was some day trader I met online. I was like, yo, I gotta go out and try to get a ride in his Rolls Royce. And we ended up just driving there overnight. We made like a fucking 3-4 hour drive, like an hour and a half drive. I'm talking, yo, my brother's like flying there, bro. And we end up.
It was like a boat just gliding with the steering wheel.
Bro, crazy. But we're in his Lexus to go to LA, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in his Lexus. And then we get there, we're at this hotel. And he's just like, yo, Vince, what's up, man? And he pulls up in this fucking chariot, bro. Like, I can't even explain this. Like, as somebody who had never been around nice cars, bro, this fucking chariot with like a silver hood, spirit of ecstasy.
Smoke comes out from the thing.
Yeah, bro, dead. And he goes into the back. He's like, yo, Vince, I got this 4X hoodie for you. Yo, here. He's like, yo, hop in, etc. And like, I'm in this car, bro, and I'm like fucking gliding. It's a drop top Phantom. It's a drop head Phantom. Looks like a mafia car. Dude. Bro, and I remember driving around LA with him. And just the attention. I didn't even know there was attention that came with these cars. But like everybody was staring and looking. The wind's fucking blowing in my hair. I couldn't tell you how majestic this moment was. But then I remember having to go home after we hung out for the whole day. And I was like, fuck.
Back to the apartment.
I was like, fuck, yo,
Time
I'm
to
depressed.
grind.
So my mentality was I'm going to grind trading because he did trading. Bro, I couldn't fucking figure out how he did it. Like, he's one of those people, like, I don't know what it is. I've noticed this pattern. With the best day traders I've met, they don't know how to fucking teach it, bro. I don't know how to explain that. They don't know how to teach it. So like, I'd sit on with them hours on hours. Bro, why'd you take this trade? Yo, did you put a stop? Nah, Vince, I didn't put a stop loss there. I'm like, how'd you calculate? Like, where's your... Bro, he just sixth sense. Like, he had stared at the charts for like 10 years and just knew.
It's kind of like with closing too. Like, a lot of the best closers aren't the best sales trainers. And now that I'm having to go from being a really like top closer to helping other people it has been challenging to trying to relay that, right? It's like not all Tom Brady's can be the Bill Belichick.
Yeah, bro. But I ended up after that, like blowing my trading account.
Yep.
Around this time, like my mom had not kicked me out, but she's like, Vincent, you dropped out of school. You're not getting a job. You need to go stay with your brothers for now. I went and stayed with my brothers, and they got me in the gym. Like around the time I blew this account.
How many brothers?
I had two brothers. So I had two brother. I have two blood brothers, right? But I have another friend, I guess I call him a brother, and he's one of my brother's best friends.
Sure.
So those two, me in an apartment, trying to day trade with my last $1,000, blew the account, and then I was like, yo, fuck, what do I do? I was super analytical. I was like, well, I post online. I have a fitness before and after. I have people asking me, what's your workout routine? I was like, I'm just going to tell people it's $20. It was scary as shit too. Like that's a scary thing to do if you've never sold anything before.
Publish.
I was like, am I going to get called a sellout? Like, are my friends going to switch up on me? Is there going to be bullshit? And then I remember just copy and pasting the message, and people were like, yo, what's your Cash App? And they ended up sending me the money, right? And then I ended up adapting, right? I went from selling in the DMs to building this website, and then I'm getting more sales. I raised from 20 to 50 more sales, and I had amassed like 8,000 at this time. And then I ended up running into like one of Brandon Carter's ads. And it was like, hey, listen, if you want to be an online fitness coach, I'm like, who is this jacked ass light skinned motherfucker? I was like, let me check out his ad. I had never been down a funnel before. So I'm like, yo, I'm getting
Let me book a strategy
call.
call.
I was like, yo, I'm getting on a fucking
We're going to get the strategy.
Bro, I thought I was going to learn. I was like, yo, I'm booking a call. First, he had me on a call with like a horrible rep. I think the guy knew me on Instagram because I was a little like viral kid. And he was like, oh, hey, do you have money saved up? I was like, yeah, I have money. But that was like the screening call. And then I had to have another call. I was like, when's the other call? It's tomorrow? What the fuck? Okay, so I get on with them tomorrow. And obviously somewhere along this route, I told them I have 8,000 because somehow the offer price was 8,000. And it was everything I fucking had. I was like, bro, this is a coincidence. I'm like, it's everything I have.
This
like,
is God.
Yeah,
bro.
this is God talking to me, which I felt like the whole experience was. But I remember, bro, like staring at my fucking 8,000 because I had a lot of it cash. Bro, I remember going to fucking make the wire. Everything I fucking had, bro. Everything I had. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going all in. I'm going to learn whatever they teach.
Did they use the left-handed, right-handed close on you?
Nah. They didn't hit me with that. But that was my intro to sales too.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, like, when I joined the group, bro, 20 people a week were joining. And I was like, wait, 8,000 times 20. I was like, no wonder this dude's wearing designer shirts and like living the life in Miami. But bro, his community, like the biggest thing I learned wasn't marketing. It wasn't systems. It wasn't any of that. Just the high ticket sales aspect. Bro, I learned how to get on the phone and close people just like I was closed. So as you can imagine, going from $50 PDFs to even 1K and closing over the phones, income just accelerated. And every single step from there, I've just made bigger sacrifices. That's kind of like the origin, bro.
Yeah, man. So you got into his program, and then when you were doing this fitness, right? So you said you got your brothers, y'all are just hitting the gym. Like you were putting on mad weight. Like I know you do your before and after. That's like one of your biggest clips. Like what was the timeline of you like putting on some weight?
So my first,
just like Chipotle, just fucking slamming.
Bro, first, I say this publicly, first 2 years of lifting, completely natural. Had never messed with any external substances, etc. But I went from 135 to 193 in a little bit over a year. So around this time,
60 pounds, that's a lot.
What blew me up though is that people were like, oh, not natural, this, that. And like, I was completely natural at this time. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are they hating on me? So these are personal battles too, where I'm like, why do people hate me? And I just like came to realize that if you have a lot of attention, you get hated. Now I'm gonna follow into this because I stopped selling fitness programs around the time I moved to Miami, etc. But it was because I started messing around with stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing like this TRT, I'm gym broing, like, yo, Vince, try this. I'm like, all right, cool. But it didn't feel right for me to sell fitness programs after that. Okay. And then I was like,
walk me through like why.
Yeah, so let me break it down. My entire marketing angle was natural transformation, right? Yep. Whether that was 1 year, 2 year. I made my first 6 figures from fitness programs. Around this time, another balls to the wall move, I bought this i8 too. So like this is I'm gonna tell you the sequence of these things. Make my first 100,000. Dream car was an i8 at the time. I'm watching a lot of Bob Proctor. He's like, bro, before he passed, because Bob Proctor died not very far off. He died pretty recently, a few years back. But he was like, get your dream car. Build the life that you want. And I was like, you know what? dog, I got to get my dream car. And I remember going on Google, and there's this matte black I8, like black and gold, just as I had imagined. And I found out he passed the next day, all over headlines. Bob Proctor passed away. I was like, yo, this is another coincidence. I was like, I'm getting this car. I went to test drive it. I put $20,000 down, which was what I had cash. And then the rest was
just all in moment.
Yeah, the rest I was like, yo, I'm going to give you the rest when I come back, balls to the wall. But around this time, number one, my hint was I had a lot of people like, Vince, how'd you buy that car? I see you posting. What the hell, bro? You bought a car. You're rich now, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. But my questions changed from how do I get in shape to like, how do I make money? And because I posted before and afters, I had a primarily gym influencer audience. Like other, I guess, influencers that followed me that were doing fitness coaching. Around this time, I was helping Luke, my friend I told you about. So I helped him set his thing up for free. And then I moved to Miami. And then I was like, you know what? After the dinner, the talk with him, starting to sell a little bit of consulting, I was like, fuck it, bro. I think I want to make the switch. And I'll say this open, transparent on camera. The reason I switched to the consulting, the margins are higher. Right, I'm going from selling 1K fitness, 2K fitness.
Exposed.
Yeah, I mean, I've been exposed, right? But then when you go to 5K plus and you have these people that are winning and you also have the incentive of people moving quicker, they're like, yo, I can make money. So when I first started, I was kind of like combining both.
Yep.
I was like, okay, you know, I have some people with fitness, I have some people that are with consulting. But I was like, why not package the two? If I have somebody that's a little bit out of shape that wants to get in shape, I can now have the marketing angle of get in shape and make money. But I mean, over time, as I started to get more and more results, I started to raise my prices more and more. And that was kind of like my breakthrough with switching from fitness to consulting. So it was a mixture of different things. Number one, my questions changed. Number two, the margins in consulting were higher tickets. So even when I did both, when you have 80% coming from here and 20% here, that 20%, if you put that into the other 80, is going to make you way more. And I knew I was gym broing and messing with shit, and I wasn't natural anymore. And around this time, I was bigger too, bro. I was like 215, 220. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to switch to consulting now. And that was the switch that I made, and that was the origin story of Six Figure Fitness, bro.
Word up, man. I think it's really interesting that you had the conscience to be able to just be like, yo, maybe I shouldn't necessarily take this route, right? Because like you said, inauthenticity with these people, like some people fall victim to it, man. The fucked up part about that is now they're going to have to hang on to that. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, with the stealing thing, like it takes a long time to build a good reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And even if in high school you had done all the best things for everybody, the only thing they're going to remember is that Gucci belt, you know? Yeah. It's the same thing with the fitness, right? It's like if you come in natural transformation, then it's like TRT, like they're gonna light you on fire. That's gonna follow you forever, right? And so you went into consulting, and then how old are you at this point?
I'm like, when I switched to consulting, early 19. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The funny thing is people will make these exposed videos and then they'll take like a podcast clip like this. And I'm like, I said this. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's exposed? But yeah, so around this time too, like, I'm telling you, if I wanted to be a scumbag ass person, I could have, nobody would have known. Just nobody would have known. I could have never said this and I could have continued selling fitness programs, but it just defeated my message and purpose, right? And another reason I don't really talk about this, because I know how many kids look up to me. You know what I mean? So like sometimes I'll leave clips out saying that because I don't want to be like, not to name anyone, I don't want to be an influencer that promotes gear and shit to people, because I had health problems with that too. That's why people say, Vince, you look smaller here, you look bigger here, Vince, you look smaller. But yeah, that was my moral compass of why I switched. But repeat your question one more time.
Yeah, so I can't even remember, but with what you just said, so did you do it, then get on it, then get off of it? Or if you're
it's like fucking literally gym. I talked with Nathan about this. I was like, bro, I gotta fucking get blood work or some shit. Cause I had blood work a few months ago, but bro, when I tell you it was bro science, just like, fuck it, let's see. Yo, I'm young. My health is probably at peak standing right now. It's probably never gonna be as recoverable. But yeah, I went from doing like low levels, 100, 150 to like eventually like fucking 200. Then max was like 500. And then cold turkeying after that, and like up and down. But I know I did the whole thing incorrectly.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's important to recognize, man, you carry a lot of weight with your personal brand, because I would assume that most of, if not 95% of your followers are younger fitness guys, see you as an inspiration for what you've achieved materially. What do you want to give to those younger guys outside of, obviously, if they want to light a coaching business on fire, they can mess with you on that, be successful. But like, what are you trying to give to those guys as far as a message goes?
A symbol of hope. That's it. I want to be in young men's lives what I didn't have. I didn't have a me when I went through all these trials and tribulations. All I had was people I did not want to be like. And that's a hopeless feeling. It's just kind of like, I'm down this route. The teachers, the mentors they've placed in front of us don't live lives that I want. And that gave me a very depressing and suicidal feeling. But I had to have a culprit. I had to have a mix because I wanted to kill myself. But then God showed me financial freedom was a possibility. So I made a contract, and I say this on podcasts, it's very extreme, but the most successful people I know are usually very extreme. I said, if I don't become a millionaire by 25, I'm killing myself. Like that was what I wrote in sand, extreme, like balls to the wall, written on a paper contract. And I wrote what I was willing to give up to, which was all the distractions.
A lot of people forget about that.
All the vices, all the bullshit. So after I wrote this, my PS4 was the most important thing to me. And I ended up getting rid of my PS4. OfferUp knew how to resell. Somebody came by and bought it. And I want to be seen as a symbol of hope. And I want young men to be able to look at me and go, damn, okay, I can do the same thing he did or something similar. And that's where people get me misunderstood, right? A lot of people online think that I'm showing them something they can't have, which is where the hatred stems from. But as soon as they see that my core messaging and purpose for being inspirational, on top of course, there's financial benefit behind that because money follows service. But it's just that I want men to understand there is another way. You don't have to kill yourself and you could be somewhere just like me or past me.
Yeah, I think a bunch of thoughts. So the environment that I grew up in was super not conducive to success. And so I basically had like the anti-mentors, right? Like drug dealers, that was pretty much it. And if I wanted to make a way, I'm selling weed. And that's exactly what I did for like years. And so I look back and wish I would have shared my journey a little bit more frequently along the way. And that's what I'm trying to do now. It's like, look, man, I come from the most humble beginnings. Maybe I didn't have it the worst in the world, right? Like, we don't want to get into the comparison game on that. But like the idea that you can go a lot further than you think is my kind of central message. I do a lot of that through showing people that they can run farther, like sign up for a marathon. That's like my biggest side quest right now. It's like I'm just signing people up for marathons. Like I just enrolled like 20 people into a marathon. I'm like, here's the fucking invitation link. But whenever you're thinking about your environment and then you got here, right? You said there was a little like suicidal point. If you're open to diving into that, I also had a very low valley where I quit smoking weed, I quit drinking, and sold my TV, or not sold it, I just gave away my TV to my friend because I saw this Jordan Peterson clip where he's like, if you watch TV for 4 hours a day, let's say your time's valued at $50 an hour, which is a radical underestimation, that's 2,000, whatever, do the math, you're spending $100,000 a year just watching TV. And I was like, not anymore, I'm not. And so I gave away the TV, kind of the same thing. A lot of people forget about the sacrifices that you have to make too. But walk me through how did it start? Like, was there just a little, because you got better, and then you got a little bit suicidal. Like, what was that?
I wouldn't even say the word is suicidal. I'd say the word is feeling like I didn't want to be on the earth, feeling like my soul didn't want to be in my body and live the reality that I lived. So I was a conspiracy theorist at first, right? I was kind of like, the school system's designed, there's lizard people, there's
the Matrix,
that. Yeah, everything. But I remember like vividly, and I don't know if I still have like scars from this shit. Bro, I'd fucking have these homework worksheets of like the angle of a fucking triangle. Bro, my dad had just passed away. My mom's fucking on a wooden floor with hundreds of papers trying to fucking file taxes. And I remember just taking a fucking eraser and I was just like, yo, I want to fucking destroy myself because I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain that feeling. So I wouldn't say it's suicidal. Like, I wanted a quick ending. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to fucking cause harm to myself to escape the current circumstance I was in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to go down this indoctrination route. And that was why I dropped out of high school, bro, because I knew if I'm already at the point where my mom's like, why is there a fucking gash of a big red scar here? I knew that wasn't going to end well. I was like, hey, listen, like, I didn't tell my mom this, but I was just like, I'm not finishing high school. And she threatened to kick me out. She threatened to do every single trick in the book of like, oh, well, you know, if you drop out this, bro, she had no, if I didn't want to live, she has no fucking leverage. I was like, just let me get my shit and live on the street because I'm not doing this shit. And that was the feeling. But what I'm here to tell these men watching is the only escape is financial freedom. Like that's the only escape that I found because you weren't told that you can be young and rich. Like the closest path, what I heard was you can be a 40 or 50-year-old millionaire with 1 million in an IRA, and then like 40% is going to taxes when you take it out. Like that was the American dream that was sold to me. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna fucking make it this long. So I had these symbols of hope in my life, like a Ty who was like 27 at the time. Now he's over 30. But that was the closest thing I saw of what gave me a purpose of being. I was like, wait, how do I get there? I was like, bro, was it school? Man, Vince, fuck school. Like he was very extreme about it. But I was like, damn, okay, it was self-education. It was studying success. He actually put me on to Grant Cardone. And I actually ended up visiting Miami and going to that Grant Cardone event. But it was just getting exposed to the fact that there are successful people. There are people that have found another way. And that was what gave me a purpose in life, bro.
Yeah, man, I think it's so important to recognize, like, whenever you're going through that route, right? And for the maybe not so much fuck school folks, like, you could still go to college, man. And if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, if you want to achieve those things, that's perfectly reasonable. And I don't think that success is I don't think that this type of risk tolerance is for everybody. Like, I have a friend, and he just wants to make like $6,000 a month, and he doesn't want to do. I can't relate, right? But like, I was so mad about it for so long. I was like, why the fuck do you want to make $6,000 a month and play your fucking game? But then I thought about it. I was like, oh well, there's plenty of things that I have to go through that he doesn't, and maybe that trade-off isn't for everybody, right? Like, not everybody has to have the same goals, and so if you want to go and play that route, that's reasonable. But if you feel that feeling of like, man, I am just not where I'm supposed to be and I'm getting angry about it, then do something, right? And you have to be able to go through the steps that are necessary and make those sacrifices. Now, to the person that doesn't want to be there, if they're not doing anything about it, or they're not actually thinking that they think they can just jump ship and just jump forward, I think that's where a lot of people feel behind. And you said something earlier, like it was that you were inefficient or that you were impatient or something, right? Yeah. A lot of, like, I've got this idea there. If you feel behind, it's one of three things. You're either not effective enough to get to where you're trying to go, you're not patient enough to get where you're trying to go, or you're comparing yourself to other people. Now, most of the time it's the third one, but I also think that that's a good thing. And like you said, you have a 27-year-old guy, you're comparing yourself to him. Comparison, as long as you're drawing inspiration from it and not jealousy, which is a fine line, you're going to be great. Would you say that you were just comparing yourself to these people now that you've been exposed to it? You're like, oh, this person's making $100K a month. Oh, this person's making $1 million. You're like, oh, then fuck it, I can do it too.
Yeah, it's always been that. Like, a lot of people say comparison's the thief of joy. But I mean, do you need joy in order to grow? If your goal is growth and not joy. My goal was growth. Like, I didn't care about being happy. I think it was, I don't know what his name is. Naville, or I don't know. Somebody. Naval, right? I think he has this tweet where he says, a desire is a contract to remain unhappy until your goal gets fulfilled, or something along those lines, right? Yeah. And that's the contract that I've made every single time. Like, I'm willing to risk happiness, but like, my life purpose isn't happiness and pleasure. It's just something that I've found that it's not. And a lot of the time when I'm in these pleasurable moments of what people like, bro, Vince, just enjoy your time, bro. Just have a drink, just do. Like, mediocrity is unenjoyable to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I might party if we're in fucking Monaco or some shit and we own the yacht. Like, that's different. But right now, that's not my purpose. So comparison is the biggest thing that got me to where I'm at. And I would be nowhere near where I'm at if I didn't compare myself to somebody who was outperforming me. Now, the best mental model, if somebody's young watching this, you need to get rid of the excuse of age, because all you're doing is allowing yourself to lag. So when I'd see these guys that were 27, when I'd see a guy that was 40 years old and a millionaire, I didn't think of myself as 18, 19 at the time. I went, that dude is outperforming me somehow, and he knows something that I don't. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people think if somebody's 40 and a millionaire, they think it took them 40 years. But a lot of the time, the pattern I've noticed with these guys is they figured it out at 30. They figured it out at 35. And it really took them like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do I do the same thing with my journey?
I think a lot of times one good framework too is compare yourself to how many years they've been in business, right? So if it's like, I didn't really get my head out of my ass until I was like 23. And so for me to compare myself against you, it's like, well, you started when you were X and you're 4 years into the game now. And so it's like, well, I'm on year 3 into the game, so I can still catch up, right? So it's kind of like the guy who's 35 or whatever, he might not have started until then, but he's at 40 as a millionaire. So that means he did it in 5 years. So how, you could do that from 19 to 24, right? So I think, honestly, man, it's been a really, really fun ride to go through a lot of this. And the expansion of your brand, right? To get to 1 million followers, you're going to have to piss a lot more people off. You're going to have to gain a lot more fans. You're going to have to run a lot more ads. What are you trying to maybe change now that you've gotten to this like pretty big threshold going forward about how you're positioning yourself with the organic stuff?
I'd say it's just authenticity. Like that's a moment I reached, because I've had times I wasn't as authentic, I guess, like especially early on. And what I've noticed, if we go back to the spiritual guru stuff, like the purer my message has been, the more attention I've gotten. And I think that's an agreement with God. It's almost like the 50,000 follower Vince didn't deserve the audience he has now. The 100,000 follower Vince doesn't deserve the platform he has now. So every single level is a new level of self-development in my message that's allowed me to grow. So I think this next step is, it's just, for me, I think in terms of what message do I need to have to the people that do watch me for God to allow me to grow. That's my mental model.
Yeah, man, it's like, there's a David Goggins quote that I hold on a lot to. It's like, it's not about you anymore, right? And so whenever it's kind of like the teachers have the most responsibility and they have a bigger fiduciary duty because they're impressing upon the youth, right? And so I think it's super important to think about the type of impact, because now it's a greater magnitude. I mean, to think about having 1 million followers, right? It's like, that's like some prophet shit. It's like, who says you can't be like one of those people in the Bible, right? Now, obviously, like, we'll clip that up and get fucking exposed for that one. But like, at the end of the day, with social media being such a powerful tool, a lot of people kind of let it destroy them. But if you use this, man, and especially if you're a fitness coach, right? The reason that you have to post so many times a day is because you're increasing your surface area for luck, and you're also inspiring other people. And so even if you have 100 followers, to get to 100 to 1,000, right? I mean, 1,000 people is a lot of people, dude. And so whenever you're walking your guys through posting and things like that, I'm sure they're kind of all in and they're like dog hungry, ready to do it. But do you feel like what limiting beliefs do you see amongst your guys that are just now starting to hit the content side of things?
Biggest thing is I don't have a big following, which you kind of self-destructed. If you take 1,000 people in a room and you have a 2K product, it's not hard to make 10,000 a month. That's 5 people a month. Another thing is, well, Vince, I don't look like a bodybuilder or an IFBB pro, which if you look in America, 80%'s obese, and those obese people don't want to look like C-bum. They just want to get in decent shape. So I found the guys that have more above average physique sell more. It's crazy to think about. Maybe another one is, I'd say those are really the main two in terms of what people hold themselves back with. I mean, some people have the belief of, oh, Vince, I can't stay consistent. But I mean, it comes down to the core factor that everything's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. You're going to suck at first. And then it takes 30 days to build the habit of actually posting. And let me tell you something too, it's very easy to build a habit when you get paid for it. So like, those are the main things that I see people struggle with though. Aside from that, guys are just ready to work and they're ready to kill it and change their lives.
Yeah, man. I think you've done a great job of setting the precedent. I mean, I haven't like looked at your ads or anything, but with your organic, it's like you said earlier, 10% of people, maybe 20% or whatever, depending on how hard you're going on it, are going to hate you no matter what. Even if you're building houses in Africa, they're like, why didn't you build double? Why didn't you build them in somewhere else, right? It's like, you can never win, right? So just, if you audit the ratio, just expect for 10% of people to just hate you no matter what, right? With some of the people that have maybe been through your pipeline that didn't move forward on your program due to fear, like, what are you seeing come up for them? And what are you trying to do to nurture them along?
I'd say the biggest thing, bro, if you want me to boil it down to one core thing, it's that people don't think they're worthy of more. Like, I've had some guys that would get off a call and they're like, bro, Vince, just want to work at a gas station, bro. I'm like, you want to work at a gas station, bro? So like, that's why I kind of, I make videos at more of an aggressive standpoint to tell these people like, dog, you can fucking have more than a fucking gas station, 7-Eleven at 2 a.m., right? But I think it's just the self-belief aspect. And that's why these books on self-image that they've heard us talk about, like Power of Awareness, Think and Grow Rich, are very important, because at one point I didn't even see myself as being able to be a millionaire, right? And you have to hypnotize yourself before you even think of the how. Another thing is, Vince, I want to do it for free. But a lot of the time people don't get that the free path is the more expensive path long term. When I was 16, 17, me trying to brain rot my way into all these business models for free, getting free courses, looking stuff up on YouTube and Reddit, all it left me with was thousands of dollars lost and months of time wasted.
And questions unanswered.
Unanswered questions that can only be answered if you buy something, right? So when I actually did take it into account to just pay the person who was in front of me, that was how my results were skyrocketed. So I'd say those are the biggest ones, bro. Self-belief, maybe people have never invested in themselves before. Am I big enough, Vince, or do I have a big enough following?
Yeah, I think I get a lot of fulfillment out of helping people break those limiting beliefs. And my style of closing is not necessarily all like the fucking NEPQ reframes and all this Jedi mind trick stuff. It's more just like breathing life into the person and just speaking from a place of conviction and making sure that transfers across, right? And so, what would you say to the person right now looking at this that's like, could I do this? Like, they've got a little bit of hope, a little bit of inspiration. Like, if you could speak some life into them, like, what would you tell that person?
I'd say the biggest risk in life is taking no risk, right? And the biggest thing for a lot of people, they don't want to take the risk because they get these things called doubts, right? Like, oh, I can't do this. Maybe this isn't for me. But when you really study self-development, you understand that your doubts are the devil, right? Book, Outwitting the Devil. It gives the devil in a protagonist, antagonist standpoint, competing against God, which is optimism and pessimism in your mind, right? So like I have a very good quote for that I've said time and time again. Our doubts are traitors that make us lose the good we might often win by fearing to attempt. So for me specifically, I've always been able to revert my mind back to best case and optimism, even in spite of thinking of everything that could go wrong. Because there's unlimited things that could go wrong. And on the flip side, there's unlimited things that could go right. And the man that believes he can and the man that believes he can are both right in the long run. But you have to think, which thoughts serve me, right? Like, it's not that the winners don't have these doubts, these nerves, these fears. It's that winners have built the mental muscle of consciously rejecting doubts and thinking of best case. So if you're going into anything in life, online coaching or whatever the business might be, you need to think of the best possible scenario and best possible outcome. And you need to be able to have a filter and shut out the people that are telling you the worst possible scenario and worst possible outcome. So that's the 2 cents that I'd leave them with, and something that's helped me along my journey as well.
Absolutely, man. Goals make demands, right? And that's one I got from Tom Bilyeu. And it's like, if you're still coming around to the idea that you can achieve a lot more, you don't have to go and make 10 grand next month, but try to give yourself some sort of contest. And that's why I firmly believe that everybody should run a marathon. It's like, dude, sign up for a fucking marathon. And if you can run 26 miles, you can make a payment link and post a piece of content to get someone to change their life in their fitness journey, right? So I think, like, honestly, man, you've done a really, really great job. And I know some of your clients, and I'm sure we could go on a whole laundry list of people that you've helped succeed. But just to wrap things up, right? Like, I'd love to understand a couple. You mentioned you told your mom she couldn't work anymore, or that she didn't have to work anymore. What are some of the last 3 brags that you would give? You could do a few on yourself, a few on your clients. Like, brag on yourself for just a second. Like, what are you proud of, man?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that makes me proud, especially in Miami, is I can't even leave the fucking house, bro, without somebody whose life I changed. Whether it's some 18-year-old kid in a damn C8, like somebody that's in a Lambo. I get all these people that come up to me, whether I'm in the gym or no matter where I'm at, free or paid, that are just like, bro, thank you for doing what you do. Like, you changed my life. And that's why I keep going regardless of all the hate, because the haters are always going to be the loudest. But what gives me security is knowing that I'm helping the past me, the 16-year-old kid that was lost, that had no father figure. And I speak life into these people. That's my biggest flex. It's not even the money, the cars. The money and the cars are tools of influence. And I look at them as nothing more than that. But I'd say I'm most proud of the lives I've impacted and people that I've left better. You know, that's the biggest thing for me, bro.
Dude, absolutely, man. I can tell that whenever we met, you were a lot different than the person that you were online that I had maybe a preconceived notion of. And so the main reason I wanted to come here and have a conversation today is just to give people the real behind the 60-second clips, right? Because we're going to continue to piss people off, do the rage bait thing and hack our way up. But like at the end of the day, man, you're doing a lot of fucking awesome work. And at such a young age, it's super inspirational. And I can tell that you have a genuine care for your clients, for your business partners, and for everybody involved. And so you're doing a lot of awesome things, man. I can't wait to see you just light it on fire from here.
Oh yeah, bro. Thank you.
Cool.
Oh, man.
Let's wrap it, bro.